Hello and welcome to Heiser Media's tournament coverage of the Pennsylvania State Disc Golf Championships. We're here for the final round at Muddy Run Disc Golf Course, and our sponsors for today's video are Cosmic Disc Golf, D-Town Disc Golf, and Reaper Disc Supply. I'm Dave Oster, joined in the virtual booth with PJ Barth. PJ, who do we have on the card today?
We've got Lucas Oberholtzer Hess at 27 under par, sponsored by Westside Discs. We also have Blake Kelly at 19 under par from Allentown, Pennsylvania. We've got Jesse Longenecker also at 19 under par from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Finally, we got Joey Bruno at 19 under par, sponsored by Discraft from Robbinsville, New Jersey.
So tight race for second place, all tied there. Lucas couple strokes ahead, but we'll see how this round plays out. Starting off, as we always do, on hole 1 is a par 4, 474 feet. Pretty much just trying to get as far up the hill to set yourself up with a shorter approach into the guarded green. Lucas starting us off first.
And Lucas absolutely rips on discs. So he's almost all the way up the hill after his drive.
Yeah, Lucas, a common player on our coverage, so if you've never watched coverage, you're in for a treat. Great course to showcase his skills. Blake Kelly throwing a little bit more of a stable disc, but pretty good landing zone as well.
Yeah, he'll have options from there, but he'll probably take the big gap in the middle.
Jesse, a common player to play alongside Lucas, goes with the turnover, gets a little bit too much on it, hoping for that to flex back, but we'll see where what kind of gap he has from up there in the trees.
Joey is a primarily sidearm dominant player. I think that'll actually be quite a good spot over there.
Yeah, another exciting player, mostly forehands, like you said, and a lot of overhands, forehand rollers. Definitely not the traditional style, but he makes it work. As you can see, he's on this lead card for the final round.
Yeah. Looks like Jesse and Blake threw nice upshots there. As did Joey.
Lucas farthest up there. As you see, as long as you have a far enough drive, it's pretty much just find a small gap and get up on the green, tap in your birdie to start this round. Jesse has a bit more than a tap in, but you see, just trying to get yourself a putt to start off here. Just a bit too high.
Ooh, bit of a comebacker.
Fortunate
He's going to be
3-putt for Jesse to start here. Was playing as one of the easier holes, so going to be dropping strokes to the field most likely.
Yeah, he's going to be feeling that one. Definitely want to birdie this one. It looks like the rest of the card will pick up birdies here.
Yeah, these other three being that close just makes Jesse's 3-putt that much more hurtful. Going to drop down to 4th at least to start off real quick.
All right, moving on to hole 2, downhill par 4, 712 feet. It is fairly wide open, fairly simple. You just get down there as far as you can and make an approach to the green, trying to get around the few guardian trees in the way.
Yeah, definitely one of those holes where you want to give it all, but there is just enough of this gap here that it's going to be in your head. Lucas pure in the gap, getting in the way of his own shot a little bit, but that is a great spot to land here on hole 2.
It's a little bit in danger of going out of bounds left if there was any wind, but it'll be fine.
A little high there for Joey, but playing caution away from the road with the forehand will work out. Pretty easy up and down from pretty much wherever you land out in the field. A little bit of a low ceiling the further away you are.
Yeah, unless you have the distance of Lucas, this hole's really just about the approach. But if you can get all the way up there like Lucas did, then it makes this hole very simple. And Joey with a interesting approach to the green, throwing a tomahawk approach right under the basket.
Yep, I told you, if you hadn't seen him before, definitely an exciting player. Most likely not going to throw the shot you expect. But worked out very well for him there. As we see, Jesse throws a more traditional, yet equally effective shot.
Just a jump putt for Lucas. That is a mash of a drive.
Pretty incredible. Definitely a good course to showcase Lucas's distance. Ooh, as we see Blake just a little low on that putt.
Yeah, I know Blake is a very good putter, so that's not what he wanted there.
Still early. Plenty of time to turn it around.
Oh. Joey.
Definitely a little left side, but it looked like maybe a bit of wind out in the open could have helped that disc fall out.
Yeah, and it's good that he hit that short comebacker, because honestly, it wasn't really that much shorter than his initial putt.
Yeah, get that confidence back up. Jesse with a similar distance, able to connect. We'll see if Lucas is able to start 2 for 2. And he is. Heading across the street over to hole 3, par 5, 600 feet, starting from just on the edge of the woods, getting through a somewhat tight tunnel, and then a hard left up the hill, and then another turn to the right, kind of going along the ridge. Got to miss quite a few trees along the way. It kind of splits right at the end, and you got to find yourself somewhere on this sloped green to try to give yourself a look at a birdie. Eagle pretty much out of the question unless you have 2 tremendous shots.
Lucas kind of taking the forehand line there to cut off the corner. It's a popular play.
Yeah, there's some main fairways, and then there's some just kind of natural, tighter fairways that just happen because of where the trees grew. So plenty of options and different ways you can play this hole.
Funny to see the forehand dominant player take the traditional backhand line.
Yeah, like I said, you're never going to see Joey take what you think he's going to do, what most players will. Tricky footing there for Blake, but good pull, keeps it low, misses all the small stuff on the ground, and makes pretty good progress down the fairway. Should be maybe within a couple hundred feet of the basket.
Yeah, those are some great shots out of those two. Those should be pretty easy approaches from there.
Yeah, it's not too often you see a 600-foot par 5. Certainly difficult despite the distance. But if you get it clean, you don't need that much power to get up there. Right.
And he's got a bit more work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Another difficult stance, not able to hit it through the gap.
He'll likely still be able to get par, but doesn't feel great on this hole.
Right.
And Joey's able to throw another fun approach right under the basket for birdie.
Yeah, he's pretty accurate with those tomahawks. He's put it per probably combined 20 feet in the last 2 approaches.
Another eagle putt for Lucas.
Oh. It's got to sit. I believe it did. Could certainly go a long way on this hillside.
That's a great putt from Jesse.
Yeah, see, looked like he was really having some trouble there. Hit 2 or 3 trees on different drives and still able to get that par. Usually it looked like, if you weren't counting the strokes, looked like he was looking for a bogey or worse. But with the short distance, definitely able to still just get that par.
Yeah, it was important for him to make sure it was a par and make up for the putts on hole 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone else gets to clean up their birdie here. Yeah. Shout out to Dan Brooks-Wells and Ethan Yager for their eagles on that hole. Moving on to hole 4. It's a 496-foot par 4. And it's a tight tunnel gap that slowly moves to the right and then straightens out again a little back to the left. You can, in theory, get a full flight right-handed backhand all the way down there, but most people go for the forehand, halfway up, and then an approach shot.
Yeah, and there's kind of a rolling hill throughout the length of the fairway where you can't really see the ground all the way down. And I've noticed that kind of affects where players are trying to land or not be able to see exactly where their discs finish, make it just a bit more tricky.
That is a picture-perfect drive from Joey. Should be looking straight down the fairway.
You can throw the traditional forehands as well. Bit low, looked like it probably ran on him a little bit, come up a little bit shorter than everybody else. Ideally you want to be kind of in front of that short tee pad that we see to the right. That really is where it lines up the second half of the fairway. Like you were saying, kind of a backhand flex shot can get over there in more distance, but the forehands can kind of just put you in an ideal landing zone.
But you don't need an ideal landing zone if you throw a shot like that. Jesse getting all the way down to circle 2, maybe even edge of circle 1.
Oh, bye-bye. We've done that twice in a row now?
Ooh. Pretty tough kick there for Lucas, but see what he's looking at to try to get up and down for his par now. Definitely birdie streak ending.
Yeah, although it looked like Lucas had the better drive, Blake kind of had a bigger gap than Lucas there and took advantage of it.
He almost had the short tee pad sign in his way. Maybe he changed his mind from a backhand to a forehand.
Can definitely happen on this hole.
Awkward little patent pending, but it looks like it worked out pretty well.
I have expected it to go much shorter than that, and then it just kept flying. It was a lot of power from that stance. A great putt from Jesse right there. Looks like his putt is back on track. Everyone else just cleaning up. Nice birdies from Joey and Blake, and a good par save from Lucas.
Yeah, getting a little bit closer. Back of the door there from Lucas as we head over to Hole 5, par 3, 333 feet. Pretty tight. Tightest part of the fairway is off the tee, and then it opens up, slightly bending right to left to a fairly open green. One of the shorter holes on the course, so definitely want to get a clean shot off and score here.
Blake just turning that over a bit more than he wanted. Maybe it was a bit low. If it was higher, could have stalled out.
Yeah, that one tree right in the middle makes it, I think, what makes this hole, because you can't just throw a simple straight shot and expect to have the gap be as wide as it could be. So everybody's trying to throw something fancy when you could just throw a pretty easy straight backhand if you're comfortable hitting that gap.
Yeah, and Jesse with a terrible kick off to the left. You really can't have an early release on this one. Lucas just turning it over a bit more than he wanted. He hit the gap, he hit the line, but maybe a little low or too much anhyzer.
Yeah, that baby flex line seems to be what they're looking to hit, but maybe a bit of headwind that didn't feel. A lot of them turn it over. And a good recovery shot there for Jesse after, like you said, coming out real early and high and getting a very bad kick.
Yeah, luckily there is a decent amount of space over on that left side, but you do have to contend with the trees at the end. So getting through them all makes his putt a lot easier.
Giving it a pretty good bid, coming up a bit high. The last birdie look on the hole.
Solid putt from Jesse again.
This hole was coming in at just under par, so if everybody makes these putts, the card is playing just a bit worse than the field for this hole, surprisingly enough. But this hole was the fourth hardest on the round, so I think maybe that sneaky headwind coming into play.
Yeah, turning discs over, keeping them low if they're nose down. Bit of a tricky hole.
And it does start to open up after the next couple of holes, so that wind might start to come into effect a bit more.
And a nice set of par putts from the card. Cleaning that up nicely. Hole 6, 398 feet, par 3 all the way downhill. Probably see some fairway drivers in a headwind. If it's good conditions or tailwind, you'll probably also see mid-range, just a straight shot. Try to keep it on the basket the whole way.
And this is going the same direction as the last hole, and I think we've seen the results of that right here. Headwind going to come into effect, like we said. Getting lucky through everything. Hitting the dirt spot under the basket and sitting down. Great shot by Joey.
That is a good forehand line out to the left there. You just got it a little lefter than he wanted, but makes it through, parks it. It's Jesse playing a bit more stable, a bit more out to the left. Probably hoping for a little more flip out of the headwind. I think Lucas was throwing a mid-range there. Comes up a bit short, but right on target.
Yeah, looks like it took 4 players to finally adjust to the headwind, and Lucas did so, throwing a straighter disc. And should be, we'll see how far he is, but should be, oh, he's a little bit further than it looked. I thought he was going to be about circle's edge, which he's usually pretty spot on.
I wonder if he threw a putter off the tee there.
Yeah, especially downhill. It is 400 feet, but that's really not one that he usually comes up short on.
Jesse here actually a little bit closer with the stepper.
Off the cage. Doesn't get the... Gets an unfortunate roll and not able to hit the comebacker. So he's going to drop another 2.
Yeah, the wind knocking that one down right out of his hand. Just a little nervy.
So Jesse back to where he started for the round. Everybody else 2 or 3 strokes better. Not quite running away yet, but things have to start moving in a direction if these guys are going to catch Lucas. As we turn around into a different wind for hole 7, par 3, 413 feet. The rolling hill fairway makes the green and basket blind. Pretty much just trying to throw it straight and get it under these trees, or throw it a little bit wider with the backhand hyzer and it come in last minute. We might see Joey go pretty much anything. He could go forehand flex shot, forehand hyzer, or I think he might be lining up the roller.
Yeah, I was thinking forehand roller kind of lines up for this. Finishes up the hill. Probably keep it from turning too far over to the left.
Yeah,
this is
good
probably
play
going
for
to be the more
Joey.
traditional line.
Right. Not sure if that's... I would say that's a good play for most people, but if you have it, it definitely works. Ooh, and there's maybe a little right to left lift in that one for Blake.
Expect Lucas really wants this one. It's just a simple hyzer for him, and he pulls it off to the right. He definitely has the power to get there just on a normal hyzer. So that's... He's probably not too happy with that. This looks great from Jesse. A nice hyzer flip. Doesn't quite get to flat. Stays up the hill. Didn't look like it hit any of the trees at the end.
Give it height. One of these times. Just give it.
And despite the hill, it looks like Joey did finish pretty far left with his roller.
Yeah, these guys aren't quite getting it close enough. They're all 35 to 45 feet, which in this wind they can't really expect it to be going in. Ooh. Blake trying to get around that tree, just catching it. Maybe trying to go through that gap, I'm not sure. Probably trying to go around it, but couldn't see from that angle. And yeah, everybody right around the same distance, and Jesse able to knock it in.
That is a solid birdie. Not a lot of people are getting that one. This is
Absolutely
one of the harder holes on the course.
Yet this round playing as the hardest. More than a tenth of a stroke over par, so...
Nice recovery from Blake. Was really an unforced error there from within circle 2. But won't see it on the scorecard.
That's right. No pictures on the scorecard, just video on coverage.
This rolled away a little more than he would have liked, especially in this wind, but he should be able to clean this up. Easy enough.
Yeah, it feels like everything can be in tester when the wind starts to pick up.
On to hole 8, 747 feet. Drive is just a wide open bomb. You kind of want to finish out to the right a bit, so that way you can come in on the open side of this green on the far side. Dealer's choice in terms of shot selection.
And I forget if it was this tournament or not, but sometimes this road does play out of bounds right. So something that at least that is in the players' heads potentially, but usually there's plenty of room that you don't have to worry about it. Unless you do that.
Yeah, Joey seems to be pretty far right. He should be able to still get up and down from there, but it'll be an interesting look.
Yeah, that's the thing with holes like this where you really can't get all the way there. Maybe Lucas can get closer than everybody else, but trying to just set yourself up for an easier approach shot. Really, if you get anywhere within where you can get the distance to get to the basket in your second shot is fine. But the better the shot, the easier your second shot will be. And speaking of good first shots, Lucas makes it to
crushed.
the corner.
Should be another jump putt approach for him, or maybe a little pitch up.
Yeah, so not out of bounds over the road, fortunately for Joey, but he is quite a ways away from the basket and short, so he has to deal with a lot of the trees and this utility post in the middle. It looks like a couple of these guys are going to have to deal with that a little bit.
And that should be a putt for Jesse there. That's the traditional line to take on an approach on this hole. You see Blake's taking it as well. A little more overstable of a disc.
Still gets there.
And he does end up doing a little swing. Almost makes it.
Yeah, it must be nice when you can get to a range like that on a 750-foot hole on flat ground. We will see later in the tournament a similar distance hole, very downhill. If you haven't seen Muddy Run, especially Lucas playing or any of these bombers playing, they can throw almost literally fractions of a mile.
That's a nice putt there from Jesse. Blake was just a little nose down, a little soft on his putt. Jesse able to keep it up in the chains.
Yeah, there's a couple in a row there for Jesse, starting to make his way back into it.
Easy birdie from Lucas.
Yeah, not making much progress if Lucas keeps doing that.
And a nice par save from Joey.
So 2 birds and 2 pars as we head to the last hole on this front 9. Par 3, 296 feet. You can go straight at it. Where the drone is flying, there's a bit of a low ceiling as you get there. If you hit the branches and drop, you'll probably be outside circle 2. Common play is to go the big wide backhand hyzer. And then there is kind of a, I guess you'd call it a front door gap if you took the forehand. We might see Joey do. Oh, hitting that last guardian tree. Otherwise, that was going to be looking pretty parked for Jesse.
Yeah, and that tree is pretty close to the basket, so it won't be very far, but it definitely would have been closer.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, similar to what we just saw there. More of the low flex line for Joey. Looks like it's working out, though.
Yeah, you could be closest so far.
Lower line there for Blake. Needs to skip. Got a little bit of ground play. This tournament was filmed, obviously, back in the warmer months, so the grass was a bit lusher. Needed more of that angle to get the skip. Joey actually
looked like Joey was actually
the basket. Yeah.
Yeah. He went a little long. Ended up being the farthest.
Good putt back for the bird, though.
Just sneak it in there.
That's right. Caught just enough left side chains. Lucas taking his time. Dead center. Even with 8-stroke lead, got to make sure you make these short ones.
And Blake as well makes a star frame.
Here we go. First of the round. Hopefully we'll see some more on the back nine, but that will do it here. Thanks to our supporting sponsors as well as our Patreon family for making this coverage possible. We are going to head to the last 9 holes of this 3-round Pennsylvania Disc Golf Championship. So we will see you over there.